Yeah, so let's just get started. So last week, reality star Joseline Hernandez had a really heated exchange. Did y'all see this with Wendy Williams on Wendy's show? Joseline called Wendy out for improperly treating her in the past. She told Wendy, "I'm an accomplished woman, and I just feel like every time I come to your show, and you don't give me those flowers now." And Wendy, you're 35 years my senior. I should get those flowers. Wendy responded by throwing a flower towards the camera and responded, "If you possibly think that I leave here every day and don't feel undervalued for something I do as a woman, we're not even going to talk about race, just as a woman. I still don't make that dollar for dollar that men make. So please, what do y'all think? Did y'all see the exchange, or what do y'all think about it?"
Well, y'all want to go first? Somebody? Anybody?
No, go ahead, Lisa Raye.
Okay. I understood what Joseline was saying. However, when you know what type of show you're going on and who that host is and what her job is to do, which is to pull certain things out of you, I think that you need to be able to control your interview. And that comes with leverage, and it comes with maturity and validation, and it comes with longevity, meaning as long as you've been in the business, you learn how to curtail certain things and you learn how to handle certain things, and it doesn't bother you as much. Because when we're doing an interview, you get to answer whatever you want to answer the way that you want to answer, just like that interviewer asked a question the way that they want to ask. So I got her point of saying that, hey, you must have asked me to come on this show because I must be valid or current enough to be asked to come back on your show again. But I want to feel good about coming on the show. I don't want to really just do this is in order, to be able to be seen or heard. But I do want to let you know how I feel, because she said, your producer knows that this is how I feel. Now, I don't think that it should have went as long as it did, because that's what I feel that made Wendy kind of feel like, okay, I heard you, but maybe perhaps she didn't have any flowers to give her. And that's why she was trying to just keep the show going. And then to make her be quiet, it was like, girl, here, take a flower then, you know what I mean? Which I felt was a little disrespectful to throw the flower. But again, when she answered the question, which she really didn't, by saying, girl, if you think I leave here undervalued, it was like, okay, but that don't mean I still, because you feel that way, I want to feel that way. You have an opportunity to not make me feel that way, because this is your show and I'm in front of you and I'm your guest. So I think that she was just looking for a little validation for what work that she has done. Now,
Okay, Syleena, you were just on her show. What do you think?
I have to agree with what Lisa Raye said. A lot of what she said, I agree with. I was just on the show literally the day before her. And I felt like, there were some topics that she could have, pressed and went into more and more, but I had already made up in my mind how I was going to behave and what I came there for. So I had already made up in my mind what I was going to say, how I was going to behave. And I've known Wendy. I mean, I know Wendy and how she asks questions. We've seen her. We know who Wendy is. We know what type of show it is. And I've been interviewed by Wendy on Hot 97 before. So when she was really let me tell you something, you wouldn't been able to handle Wendy at Hot 97. I think she's much milder than she's ever been. So my interview actually was very smooth. She was very kind to me. I didn't have any issues of any sort. She asked me some hard questions and I just answered them honestly and kept it moving. I feel like maybe she respects the fact that I'm just like, hey, just honest with the question, with the answer. However, I do understand where Joseline could be coming from as well. And I think it comes from the energy, the tone of what's going on in our world, in our community, the Black community, the fact that we are, trying to say, hey, protect Black women more. Hey, let's work together. Hey, we are trying to turn that corner as Black women in working together and, supporting each other, kind of like Cocktails of the Queens. So we're trying to turn that corner. And I think maybe Joseline was hoping to get that from Wendy, but in the same respect, you can't go somewhere and want someone to give you something that they don't have to give you, and then get mad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like Lisa Raye said, maybe that's just not what she wanted to do. And that's fine too. Doesn't make either one of them bad people, but you can't go on somebody else's show and make them act like you want them to be.
Because she may not be a fan of her.
That's what I'm saying. If you've been
not a fan, you know.
But if you've been on there before and you know how it kind of goes, then you got to kind of expect, you can't go somewhere, the same place, and expect something new. You know what I'm saying? Even though this energy does say our community is trying to move in that direction. So I get it.
And Vivica, I know you've been on the show as well.
Yes,
and what do you think?
I have many times, but I'm going to say this. Joseline, you totally lost your cool, darling. She came on there 100. And I absolutely love Joseline, the Puerto Rican princess. But girlfriend, you are probably never going to get invited back on the Wendy Williams show. Sweetheart, you have to know when things are good for business and when they're not good for business. And you did, trust me, I didn't dreamed of times that I was going to tell Wendy Williams' ass off. But when you get there, you have to realize that as doing a television show and doing promotion for a television show, that Wendy Williams has a huge show with a huge audience, and she is a necessary evil, unfortunately. But fortunately. And I thought that Wendy really was trying, when she was like, baby, can we get on to the shoe cam? And then she just kept going back and kept going back. I went on Wendy's show and left there a couple of times and like, I could just, but it's Wendy. And you just take the good with the bad, but you always have to walk away with grace so that you can then be invited back. I don't think we're going to see Joseline, the Puerto Rican princess, again on Wendy Williams.
Say, and we have to go to break, but I think they both were showing some kind of evolution, because the old Wendy would have probably just cussed somebody out. She was trying, and actually Wendy does speak about Jocelyn all the time say how entertaining she is. She's a fan of hers, so it's like don't piss off the ones that actually that do like you. But maybe maybe I don't know, there was maybe something that I didn't see, but from what I know personally, I always hear Wendy big up in Jocelyn saying how entertaining she is. But also, Jocelyn, me and you, we ain't friends, nothing like that. But, I love the evolution, but it's also good to maybe make peace with some of the people that you've shitted on in your past, like the Mimis and the other people, because then people will take your word more seriously. Like, all right, she's evolved across the board. It's not like you just want to receive this new vibe from folks. You're willing to also put it out yourself. And I think that says a lot about your character when you're like, all right, before I go demanding this respect, let me go ahead and like kind of say my sorry to people that I've maybe been a little rough with. That's just my 2 cents. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Cocktails of Queens, Kentucky Derby edition when we return.